Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to this beautiful fall afternoon. I'm Brian Kemp with Keller Williams Capital Partners and the Kemp Group, and we're here this afternoon with Garet Martin of Garet Martin Studios. We met Garet earlier this year. He started a new business, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about that.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here and excited to share with you a little bit about Garet Martin Studio. We are a nature-focused art studio. That's the way I like to describe us. We design gardens and we design containers. Everything we do has a very strong nature component to it. But my background is in public gardens and also in fine art, and so I like it to have that approach of being plant-based, but a high kind of fine art elevation of that. So everything we do is thoughtfully approached with a strong sense of plant knowledge, but also is planted and installed in a way that's going to provide a long interest that is kind of at the level of fine art. So when you're viewing the work that we create, you're viewing a piece of art.
Awesome, thank you. We had Garet come out earlier in the year after COVID hit, and we had seen some of the designs and plantings that he had done online and asked him to come out, and we started with these two pots and then moved on, and we'll show you some of the others that he did in the back, and then he's also going to be here and planting for our spring tulips and just providing a lot of wonderful color here. So Garet, when you're making these selections, you sent everything to David and I for approval before you purchased everything. And David's also finishing up his master gardening certificate right now, and he's also a little opinionated, as am I. But how did you put all this wonderfulness together? Because I'm never going to be able to throw begonias in a pot again and make them look good. So.
Well, thank you so much. It's such a nice compliment. And the first thing that I do is it's so important to meet the clients, right? So to have a conversation and just sort of gauge sort of what you like, being able to sort of walk around your space, sort of see the color palette that you're drawn to, and then go from there is the first step. And the great thing, what I noticed with you and David, is that you have a strong plant knowledge. You love beautiful plants, you love unique plants, and so I was so excited, able to kind of run with that and use some more unique things that I knew that you would be interested in using. And one of the other things that I love to do is I love using tropicals. I feel like using tropical plants in Ohio is a little unique. It's something that people don't expect. But when you're able to do that, so able to use sort of a focal plant that is a little unique, something that people aren't expecting, and then build off of that, you're really able to create something that's different. The other thing is thinking about how long the growing season is here in Ohio and providing you with something that's going to be sort of instant hit, which would be sort of these tropical plants and also sort of a sun patient. They generally are always blooming. And then providing something that's going to come a little bit later in the season. So like this heliotrope, which when we planted that, it was so tiny, yeah. it had no interest whatsoever, but
now it's really popped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And knowing that how long we have for this to come into play, that this was eventually going to be a star in the display. So it is that idea of having this container be something that changes and grows and adapts as the season changes.
Yeah, it's been so lovely that it's been really hard to think about taking it out and putting in mums or changing it seasonally. So we're going to let it go.
That's great. That's great.
This was another pot that Garet did for us, and it gets a fair amount of sun. And so tell us a little bit more about what all is in here, Garet.
Yeah, sure. So with this pot, this was fun because I knew sort of, again, being able to visit and sort of talking with you and David, and also just sort of seeing the light that hits this, I knew this would be kind of that heat pot, that one that would take a lot of heat and a lot of sun. And so in my head, I always kind of come up with these designs or give each pot a different title as I'm working with it. And so this was called the California pot, and kind of thinking about plant material that you would maybe use in a California landscape or a xeriscape, something that doesn't need a lot of water. And so I went in that direction, sort of wanted to provide you, again, with some that are a little more unique, some foliage. So this Kalanchoe, Mother of 1,000, it's just this unique plant that is incredibly drought tolerant, and also just provides a really unique foliage. And then attaching that with this plant that is maybe one of my favorite plants, which is called Melianthus major, or the peanut butter plant, because when you rub the leaves and smell it, it smells like peanut butter. But these two plants, we're going to provide some contrast visually that I thought would be really interesting. And that's what it's all about, is sort of providing that contrast, so that idea of where plants are kind of battling each other for which one is the most beautiful, essentially. But yeah, so it does have that kind of bluish color palette, which blue-gray, that I think is just really beautiful, really striking, and would work well with the color of your home.
Yeah, thank you. This top plant is it's called Mother of Millions,
Yep.
Mother of a Thousands.
Yep.
These little pieces come off. We've had in the last week, one of our friends was here yesterday, and she took a large handful of these, and you just rest them in the soil, and they'll reseed themselves.
Yep.
So they're really cool. After Garet did the pots in the front, we got a little excited and decided to have him come and do some pots in the backyard also. So what all is in here, Garet?
Yeah, this is a great variety, and I think for me, what it all started with was the blue star fern. After you sent me a picture of the pot, I believe, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, blue star fern would be beautiful in that pot. Just something about it. It's got this just beautiful growth habit that I thought would accentuate the shape of the urn. And then I really thought that you guys would love a bromeliad. They're just a little more unique. It's that tropical. I love to add some tropical, and so this is one that's called a Neo Regalia. And it's just really beautiful, really unique, and it's another example of something that changes. Early on in the season, it has a stronger purple accent to the center, and then as it grows, it sort of grows up. The purple can disappear for a little bit, and then it will eventually come back. It sort of just moves and changes as the sun changes throughout the summer. And then lemon ball sedum, which is just a beautiful sedum that always looks good, and it's just kind of unique. Begonia that is really great, but just one that cascades a little bit more, because I wanted a cascading balance to balance that blue star fern. And then David had the great idea of adding some height to the pot, and so we went with a palm that would work really well, a Majesty palm that's just great for this environment. Not all palms can be a little tricky sometimes, and so the Majesty palm is one of those that would work great for these lighting conditions. It can also handle their roots being clustered with a lot of other plants.
Awesome. So where do you see your studio growing? I know you just started. This is your first year.
It is, yes.
In business,
Yep.
And what do you see the future of Garet Martin Studios?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that. It's such a good question. And what I really want to do is, containers are always my first love. That's sort of what, I can never imagine not doing containers, because they are so fun for me personally to do. But really, I want us to be an all-encompassing nature-based art studio. And so with that meaning, garden design, garden restoration, consultations in terms of maybe how people want to incorporate more nature into their lives, which I think is so important these days. And that's not just external gardens, but you can bring garden and nature inside as well. And we also focus on seasonal decor. And I want that to be something that we develop more and more. And not just thinking traditional holidays, but fall can be such a beautiful time to incorporate those elements into your life.
All right.
Yeah.
So keep you busy for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and
please.
the holidays.
Please.
All right. Well, Garet, thank you so much. It is just it's been our pleasure to meet you and to see your talent. You've made the summer here so enjoyable. So we're looking forward to what's going to happen in the spring as well. So Garet's information will be at the end of the video, so please reach out to him. And thank you all. Enjoy this beautiful weather.